they will say what they want, and I say let them say what they want, because after all, they can't stop you from saying what is. And what is that the Biden corruption story is the biggest story in America. It's the biggest story in America. It doesn't matter if they're talking about it. It matters that they're infuriated that we're talking about it. It matters that they see that Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, is in a very, very difficult spot. He either told the DOJ to interfere or he lied about the interference. They're actually the same thing, don't you know? One way or another, the DOJ is responsible for not having this investigation on Hunter Biden go forward. We're seeing this more and more. This whole WhatsApp message, oh, sure, they never should have had access to it. That shouldn't have been released. This is a violation. A lot of violations take place. And when they happen to Donald Trump, everybody says it's business as usual. It's not. And what's not business as usual is the corruption that we're seeing and getting more and more evidence of regarding the Biden family. And that's why, in a week of just unbelievable news stories, it is indeed the biggest story in America. Guys, where is it? Welcome to the show, presented by Americans for Prosperity. It's good to be with you. Economic liberty and free speech. That's what it's all about. I'm on vacation. I am. And I picked, look at that. Hair's not even done. I picked the wrong week, man. I got Supreme Court making decision after decision after decision. I've got the leaked audio of President Trump saying, oh yeah, this is classified. I could have declassified it when I was president. This is huge, huge stuff going on all across the country. My beloved Indiana, hit by tornadoes. Greenwood, Indiana, got some real serious damage. I look forward to getting back and being of service to my people as soon as humanly possible. But this story about Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and of course, the biggest lie of all, that Joe Biden never knew about Hunter Biden's offshore, overseas business dealings was always a lie. It was always a lie, every bit of it, from beginning to end. Let's go back to the basics. Hunter Biden had the deal with Burisma, $800,000 a month, or $80,000 a month, whatever it was, $800,000 a month. That's, he's gotten much more than that from Ukraine and from China. He was on this Burisma board only because of his father. And then slowly but surely, those conversations coming out about what it is that they were actually doing and the possibility of bribes, the possibility of $5 million for President Biden, then Vice President Biden, $5 million for Hunter Biden, to be able to not only get access, but to get policy decisions made, including whether or not a prosecutor remains. These are all unbelievable allegations. But within all of it is this conversation that somehow Joe Biden has said repeatedly that he knows nothing about Hunter's overseas business dealings. All Joe Biden can say is he's proud of his son. A father being proud of their son is nothing new, nor is it a defense. A father being proud of their son is standard operating procedure. It's not a defense. A father saying he's proud of his son is his way of saying, I love my son no matter what, and nothing's going to change that. Great that he's loyal to his son. It doesn't change the possibility of criminality. There's the difference. The political left wants you to believe that somehow he's proud of his son is the end of the conversation. You can't now talk about his son. I'm going to talk about his son. I'm going to talk about his son mornings, afternoons, evenings, Jewish holidays. I'm going to talk about his son whenever I choose because there's a serious issue at play. This was the question that James Rosen of Newsmax asked of John Kirby there at the White House press briefing.
The House Ways and Means Committee yesterday released documents, their authenticity nowhere challenged. That included a July 2017 WhatsApp message sent by Hunter Biden to Henry Zhao, a Chinese Communist Party official, which stated in its entirety, and I quote, I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight. And Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows, and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father, unquote.
May I say, for the record, that these Bidens really know how to threaten somebody. somewhere in the Joe Biden, Hunter Biden lexicon, they all picture themselves as guys who could have taken on Tony Soprano. They're going to sit there at Satriale's, they're going to sip their espresso, and they're going to say, oh, marron, and whatever else it is they could possibly say in the show. They think of themselves as so incredibly tough. You will regret this, you'll regret that, I better get this. That's all play, right? That's all show. It's all really describing the inner workings of how these Bidens think and how they treat other people. That can't be denied. No one wants to talk about that story. How the Bidens treat other people is pretty awful and pretty despicable, and Joe Biden has a long history of it if we only go back to Clarence Thomas. But the story here is Joe Biden was sitting next to him. My father is sitting next to me. If Joe Biden is sitting next to Hunter Biden, while Hunter Biden is sending out a text threatening these people, then clearly Joe Biden knows about the overseas business dealings of his son. Now, I've got a pretty good relationship with my dad. I've worked with my father before, and I'm not one for family businesses. I think you can love your family, you can respect your family, but you got to know some people are built for it, some people not so much. But even the things that I do now, the radio stuff, the books, the video work, the more that I have coming, my father has a basic idea of what I'm doing. We talk, we share, we have basic conversations. I may not get into every detail with the man, but the idea that we've never had a conversation about, hey, Dad, I'm writing a new book, or hey, Dad, I'm starting a new podcast, that's standard. He never had a conversation with his son is a lie. Now, you can say it any way you want. The people on the left could say, prove it, how dare you. You can now, from now to the end of time, you could talk like crazy people. We know the conversations happened. And this text message is unbelievably telling. It is incredibly revealing. Now, we've seen some other things. Where are my headlines here? Right? Oh, no, I'm not ready for that one. This one. This, of course, is the story that Biden denies discussing the business deals. The evidence does say otherwise. Evidence. You're going to ask me now, does this text message constitute evidence? And I'm going to say to you, real life constitutes evidence. Does this make the threshold? I'll let lawyers decide that. But you and me, sitting on a bar stool, drinking a bourbon, does this constitute evidence? Does this and what we know about real life constitute evidence? And the answer is, of course, it does. Certainly in the court of public opinion, it does. Certainly enough so that an investigation should happen. Just like we should have had an investigation regarding this FD 1023 form, this interview form the FBI did with the whistleblower that showed conversations about $5 million payments to Joe Biden, then Vice President, $5 million payments to Hunter Biden. That should have been enough for an investigation. This should be enough for an investigation. This certainly in the court of public opinion shows that Joe Biden is a liar, that Hunter Biden is a liar, that the White House is filled with liars, and you have a mainstream media that was more than willing to go along with it and try and bury a story. And that's where you get to this. Hunter Biden prosecutor told 6 witnesses he couldn't charge outside Delaware. What in the world does this refer to? It's a New York Post story regarding the fact that the federal prosecutor, David Weiss, Delaware U.S. attorney, he was told that he couldn't prosecute. He could not go outside the scope of Delaware to be able to go after Hunter Biden and issues regarding his taxes. The Attorney General, Merrick Garland, has said, well, we never put any restrictions on him. He was free to do so. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what he told Congress. The Attorney General, Merrick Garland, said that this guy Weiss, David Weiss, was allowed to go outside of Delaware, and if there was something to prosecute, he was allowed to do it. Weiss, according to 6 different people, was told that he couldn't do it. So who's lying? Who's telling the truth? Who's lying? Who's telling the truth when it comes to this level of corruption, which again is Biden corruption? This is his attorney general. Now, I love it when people use the term handpicked. They always said that about Bill Barr. It was Donald Trump's handpicked attorney general. Every attorney general is handpicked. There's nothing new about this under the sun. The attorney general may have thwarted an investigation into Hunter Biden for political purposes, because it's only political purposes. That is corruption. That's a scandal. And it's very clear that the Attorney General may have well lied to members of Congress. Not that it was a miscommunication, not that, oh, we thought this, it was that. You wasted enough time to allow the statute of limitations to expire on a series of possible charges. That's corruption. And whether the Attorney General lied or whether there was a miscommunication is inconsequential to the court of public opinion. When it comes to whether or not this rises to the level of impeachment, well, I think that the WhatsApp text that James Rosen read there, I think that's enough to get the ball rolling. I actually had this conversation on Newsmax last week, and I was arguing with Jessie Jane Duff, who I like quite a bit. She's intense, and I dig intense. And she's like, you can't let them get away with the corruption. You got to go at it. You got to go at it. I don't want to let them get away with the corruption. I just want to have the right focus. And this was about Representative Boebert's articles to impeach, which was about how Biden is dealing with the border. Biden's dealing terribly with the border. But I don't think that's where you go about engaging the impeachment. I think you got to have the party together and then focused. I'm not opposed to impeachment, especially when there are real crimes. We're seeing more and more of this. We're seeing more and more of what are clearly the real crimes. This stuff is ugly as sin. And that's why it's the biggest story in America. It isn't some Trump audio tape. I'm not arguing that it isn't a big story. It's not the attempted coup in Russia. And I'm not saying it isn't a big story. I mean, that story was nuts. And it still is. And what's going to happen with Prigozhin? Dear Lord, I got 100 theories. I'll go over them in the upcoming days and weeks, if he lives the upcoming days and weeks. But this, Biden corruption, the Attorney General thwarting an investigation into Hunter, a text clearly stating that my father's sitting next to me, proving that absolutely Joe Biden knew about Hunter Biden's business dealings. So whether you want to talk about it legally, whether you want to talk about the court of public opinion, the Biden family is in trouble. And they should be from us, because lying to the American people, working out sweetheart deals while the American people suffer, or really working out sweetheart deals when you're in a political office, unacceptable, beneath us, and we shouldn't allow it for a second. This is the biggest story in America, no matter how you look at it. And the fact that the mainstream media won't cover it, that's how you know it's the biggest story in America. I mean, it's kind of easy to understand right there. Guys, I know I'm on vacation. It's not my normal setup. I got people doing work. Look at this guy. Oh, he's over here. He's over there. He's over here doing good work. Doing good work, guys. I appreciate you, and my thanks to Americans for Prosperity. AmericansForProsperity.org. Economic liberty, free speech. That is where it's at. Don't forget to subscribe on Rumble. I am actually in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. So I will bring you dispatches from the district. I'll catch you guys then.